Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to Just Parlays with me. I'm your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at Whiners from Whiners.com. But the guy whose name's on the show, you know him, you love him. He's looking for something that he dropped.
No, I had to plug my laptop cord back in. One of the cats is playing with the cord.
That's high quality pets right there. It's Chris King, everybody. What's up, Chris?
Not much. What about you, Scott? It's nice to see Recky Stenhouse currently in third place at Dover.
Right, got a little Monday NASCAR action here, and the one thing that I can notice about most of the people that are in the top 10 is we don't have any of them.
Well, I had Elliott. I can't remember who else we picked.
Elliott, that's right. Elliott running in 8th. Yeah, it's looking great right here. So anyway,
hey, Christopher Bell's 12th.
Yeah, I did see that. He's trying to sneak into the top 10. So go get him, CB.
I liked it better yesterday when Recky Stenhouse wasn't near the top.
Oh, it's good to be here, man. Good to be here. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, how about you?
Not bad.
Other than you forgot to go and help Rachel move.
I wouldn't say I forgot.
You said that you forgot it was this weekend.
That's a long trek to Brooklyn. I can't imagine how much stuff does he have.
I don't know. He said he bought a bunch of stuff off the guy that was moving.
Right.
So
that's by the way, that's the way to do it. Don't move a shitty couch. Just pay $50 for the one that's already there. You know what? That fucker don't want to move it either. So,
well, he said that guy was going into the army or something.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He was headed to the army.
So he didn't need a couch.
Good time to join up to the army.
They'll provide a couch for him. It's called, a bunk bed.
Cat. Get a cat. Would you be joining up right now, buddy? If you, I know you volunteered after 9/11 and whatnot.
I'm past my prime.
I'm just saying. No, I'm not in. Not
no, theoretically, no. I mean, probably not. At least when I started, it was quiet because it was 97, so there wasn't a whole lot going on at that.
That's right.
Point.
You were. I thought you were post 9/11. You were in 97. You lasted through 9/11, right?
Yeah, through 05.
Okay. All right. There you go. Yeah, that's the good time to go. When you're like, yeah, I could have give me a GI Bill and go to a little college. I do some time, maybe get to see a part of the world. Where did you get to go? Before there was war, what exotic locales did you get to see?
Let's see. I went to Tucson. Well, not Tucson, Sierra Vista, actually.
I was gonna say, well, there's good training for Iraq.
Yeah, right around about within an hour of the Mexican border. Nogales and all that is about 90 miles from there.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's see. I was in Augusta, Georgia. Fort Gordon. Been there. Saw Augusta National from the street.
Okay.
Paris Island, of course, because that's where everybody starts.
I know that from the Billy Joel song.
Camp Pendleton. That's out in California.
I know, okay. No, that's a beautiful place out there, just north of San Diego.
29 Palms. That's further up. Been there. Missed a chance. We were going to go to be deployed to Italy, and then they changed it at the last minute and sent us somewhere else.
Where'd you go instead?
Afghanistan.
Well, that is a definite downgrade there.
Yeah, because if we had gone to Italy, you were going to be on for 24 hours, and you would have been off for 48. So you would have had time to go and see stuff and do stuff. But the best laid plans of mice and men and all that stuff.
I'm calling my travel agent at that point. Going, I don't know who thought this was a comparable destination, but I'm going to need a vast refund. So
yeah, and frequent flyer miles or something.
Absolutely. So, hey, how'd your weekend go? Did you hit some parlays, buddy?
Yeah, we had a couple smaller ones. There were every time we had a good one going, somebody would screw it up. Like yesterday, I think it was who was it? The not the Mets because they actually won.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look at my list. The Angels tried to blow one because they were up. They made that game interesting. Yesterday it was the Celtics screwed one up.
Okay,
because everybody else won and the Celtics lost.
Yeah, that was a lot of people thought that defense would clamp down a little bit more on Milwaukee than they actually did. So Michael Doe's checking in. What's up, Michael? Happy Monday. Hope great week for you. Wants to know about Miami and he wants to know about Minnesota. Now, I don't want to give it away too much about Miami. I'm gonna do one of those dick move things and say If you want to get my opinion on Miami, you got to watch the next show. I'll just say that because we are definitely going to be talking about the Marlins game. As far as Minnesota goes, that's my play of the day, and I'm just basically fading Baltimore, and I'm fading Tyler Wells. Paddock has been better lately. He got off kind of a rough start in his first appearance for his new team there, but this Minnesota team, they're mashing the ball, and they've won 9 of their last 10. I've got to back the hot team here. What about you, buddy?
Well, it's funny that Michael brings up the Marlins because I actually had them in the slides today as well. I actually like Miami. It's going to be a good pitching matchup because you got Zach Gallen with his 0.60 ERA taking on Pablo Lopez and his 0.39 ERA.
Right.
I like Miami there. I also think I have the no-run first inning prop going up, and I got an interesting number for you on that, Scott. Are you ready for this? The Diamondbacks in the first inning this season are batting $122.
That's not good. It's not going to get you many. It's not going to get you many Yerfies either.
Yep, and they're the second worst hitting team on the road. Lopez, the top 3 guys he'll probably face in the order. David Peralta's 0 for 4 against him. Carson Kelly is 0 for 6. Ketel Marte 1 for 3. And going back a couple of seasons now, the Nerfy is, I think it's 12-2 at home for Lopez since 2020. He's blanked the Diamondbacks both times in the first inning. He's faced them in that stretch. And on the other side, Gallen has not allowed a hit in the first inning against 10 hitters. Opposing hitters in the first time through the lineup so far this year, 1 for 25 with 11 strikeouts.
Solid. Lex Steele checking in said Brewers screwed up his parlay, had to drink himself to sleep, and then had to get up, drink himself awake. Very nice.
Well, I mean, at least he was consistent. He's well hydrated.
Andrew bringing up a great point. Says playing the Nets screwed up the Celtics. They weren't ready for a real defense.
That's partially true.
Well, we know the
plus Jaylen Brown was dealing with a hamstring. I know he tried to gut it out. He didn't look very good shooting the ball. But I think it's a punt, like we always say. Mike Tyson used to tell you, everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the face.
That's right.
And now this is where Ime Udoka and the Celtics have to regroup and get back on track.
Okay. All right. Michael says he always watches the next show. That other guy, though, you have. Yeah. See, it's usually us that's right off that's going to start roasting Michelle, but now we're getting it. Now we're getting it from the crowd. That's a beautiful thing. See the Yankees Royals game Friday night.
Yeah,
it's a reminder to everybody out there that if you have a money line bet on a baseball game, it only has to be MLB official. In other words, it has to go 5 full innings or just 4.5 innings if the home team is ahead before the game is actually declared official. However, you're betting a run line, if you're betting totals, the game has to be completed in the normal amount of innings. In other words, it has to go a full 9 or 8.5 if the home team is ahead. The Yankees broke that game open. I was actually sweating the run line there, Chris. Believe it or not, the final score doesn't look like it, but
yeah, I know it's 3-2 or something in the 6th.
It was. It absolutely was. And then the Yankees put up some pretty. I think they put up a 4 and a 5. And then the rains came, and the rains were actually earlier than they were forecasted because I took the family right down the road, and we do as we often do on Friday nights when we're bored. We go see the fireworks show, and we were sitting there, and we see this lightning coming, and we're like, "Well, good thing the Weather Channel says that's going to be an hour away still." And then all of a sudden, here it came, and it was brutal. If you saw any of the clips over the weekend of the tornado in Andover, Kansas, that was the same storm that hit there. It had weakened a little bit. We didn't get any tornadoes, but we did get some massive rain.
Now, how far is Andover from where you are?
About 180 miles.
So about 3 hours by car.
Yeah, maybe 170. It was a little north of Wichita, somewhere around there. But and then those storms generally come from the southwest. They come up right up I-35, which is what this one did. But and then my power went out. I was literally getting ready to shoot my video. I was just about done with grading all the picks, and we were through the storm. And it was pretty much just the tail end of it. But apparently there was like this big, massive lightning storm at the very end, and our power went out for about 2.5, 3 hours. So good times.
Now, speaking of the Royals, are they done with Jake Brents for now? I see they put him on the IL now with a flexor strain. Can we write him off as being a useful pitcher this season with his 0-3 record and his ERA of 23.63 and his WHIP of 3.938?
Well, again, and I'm not going to, it's tough to defend somebody with those numbers, but if you look at last year, very effective left-hander out of the bullpen, got off to a decent start this year. So I got to think the injury played a big part of that. I don't think there's any way we write him off. I don't know exactly, the flexor strain can sometimes be a harbinger of very, very bad things to come. So we'll see.
Yeah, it has a name for it.
What's that?
That has a name for it. It's called Tommy John.
That's exactly what, I would say 70% of the time you see flexor strain, something like that. That guy's gonna undergo TJ. So kind of a bad break. I liked Brent. I know you look at his numbers, you go, oh, this guy sucked. But it's like somebody.
He's given up runs in 5 out of 8 appearances. So.
I understand that, but somebody got to see him pitch a lot. I know he's a better pitcher than this year's stats would indicate. So
I'll take your word for it.
Good. Steve Kerr wondering if Chris can show his team how to properly shoot a free throw. I can't with this fucking free throw thing with
and we talk about it all season long in college basketball. Teams that don't hit free throws end up inevitably costing themselves games. And I mean, Golden State nearly did it yesterday.
Well, they certainly cost me a bet, as I had Golden State minus 2.5. Now, everybody in my comment section just about had Golden State on the money line. They're all smarter than I was, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the money line was bad. I think it was minus 130, something like that.
Yep. In retrospect, that's how I should have done. That's how I should have done it, because if I'm taking a 1.5 or 2, I'm usually playing the money line the other way. So, Draymond or Clay. I made the mistake of saying nice things about Klay Thompson. He'd been really playing well. He'd been averaging 22 points a game. He'd been making 4 3-pointers a game. He looked almost not quite as good as he was before, but on the road. And then he goes up there and chunks not 1 but 2 free throws to get.
Well, now you just got to talk about how he's a piece of crap, and then he'll go out for like 35 and shoot like Chris Paul did in Game 6 against New Orleans.
Andrew said he grabbed Golden State plus 2.5 in game. That's a solid play right there.
Yep,
that worked.
Hey, Bell's up to 8th now. Nope, 7th.
Okay, good deal. All right, buddy. Let's talk about some games, shall we? You got stuff cooked up for today?
Yep.
Let's find out.
Unfortunately, they make me do that research stuff.
Well, let's show off all your research.
Really takes time out of my morning.
As they say these days on Twitter, Chris does his own research, guys. So.
Yeah, and this is the game that we were just talking about. Scott said he's not going to tell you anything because you got to watch the next show with the Muppet Scott Reichel. It's starting to look like Statler and Waldorf.
Nice.
Throwing things from the balcony.
Two good pitchers.
Yeah, it's surprising because when you think about these guys, you don't necessarily think that they're going to be good. But Gallen's pitched twice against the Mets, we said.
Mm-hmm.
Lopez has been good against everybody he's faced, which is strange because when I think of Pablo Lopez, I think of ERA about 5.5 and not doing anything of substance. And the other start for Gallen, by the way, was that 6-inning blanking of the Dodgers in his last start. Lopez.
By the way, Zach Gallen, ex-Miami pitcher. They could have had.
Yeah, that's true too.
Such a staff, dude. But anyway, then they still have a pretty good staff. So. Anyway.
But Lopez, he's faced the Giants, the Phillies, the Cardinals, and the Nationals. He's turned in 3 straight blanking starts over his last 3 outings. 5 1/3 against Philadelphia, 7 shutout innings against St. Louis, and then 6 shutout innings against Washington coming into this one. So you look at those numbers: an 0.39 ERA and an 0.6 ERA. Both guys have a WHIP below 0.75. Not a ton of walks. Good strikeout numbers. Neither team scores much. Like we said, the Diamondbacks hitting 122 in the first inning. They're 28th in the majors in runs at 317. They're 21st in runs on the road at 345. The Marlins 19th in runs per game at 395. They actually score a little more at home, 4.5 runs a game. The Marlins 5-0 in their last 5 against teams with a losing record. 7-1 in their last 8 overall. Of course, they took 2 of 3 against Seattle, and then when I picked the Marlins yesterday, Sandy Alcantara got beat up and lost. 6-1 in their last 7 as a favorite. The Diamondbacks 16-59 in their last 75 on the road. 15-57 in their last 72 as a road underdog, and they don't like playing in South Beach. Must be all the nightclub action or something. They've dropped their last 5 meetings at Lone Depot Park.
If you look at these pitchers, you say, well, it's a pretty good pitching matchup, very similar. Why wouldn't I just grab the positive money? And I think there's 2 reasons, and you touched on one of them, and that's the fact that Marlins hit a little better. This is an Arizona team that doesn't hit at all, and for you to say Miami hits better than somebody, that team's got to suck. But for me, the big difference in this one is the Arizona bullpen. This is a bullpen that's mid-4s in their ERA, and they've been about a run and a half worse on the road. This is a bullpen that has continued to disappoint. And to me, if you wanted to take a spin on Arizona with 2 good pitchers and pick up a half a run or something like that, play in the first 5, I think you could do that. But I think a full game, you got to go Miami here.
Yeah, I mean, if you look now, like we said the other day, Arizona's got 16 guys that have double-digit plate appearances, and of those 16 guys, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 that are hitting below 200. As a team, the Diamondbacks are hitting $181.
Not ideal.
That makes the Marlins, with their awesome 237 team batting average, look like the Murderers Row Yankees of 1927.
50 points higher.
I mean, and that's saying something because, if you look at the Marlins lineup, they're not all that great. I mean, you got Jesus Sanchez has 3 homers and 12 RBIs. Jazz Chisholm, who I believe came over in a deal. That might have been the deal where Gallen got traded. I'll have to double check. But, he's batting .310 with 4 homers and 15 runs batted in. It makes these guys look good. Yeah, that's the trade. Gallen got traded for Jazz Chisholm.
All right.
So both guys have panned out fairly well for their respective teams.
There you go. Lex likes the Mets, Nerfy. Okay. He's got the Diamondbacks in an upset here, Chris.
Like you said, anything's possible with 2 teams that can't bat.
Bill McDonald wants to know about the Twins run line. Obviously, I like it. It was my play of the day, Chris. You got a slide in this, or you want to weigh in on it?
Actually, I do have a slide. It's the next one.
Okay. Hey, man, there's a segue. How about that?
That's called foreshadowing, kids.
It's like Bill was there at rehearsal with us.
I know. And Michael said the Arizona hitting coach might be stranded in the Miami airport. I'm still thinking it's Chili Davis, but, that's just speculation. Yeah, the Twins over the Orioles. It's nice to see the run line. Was it positive money when you looked at it, Scott?
Yes, it was. It was, I believe, plus 108, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I saw it for plus 115 when I was doing the slides. But Chris Paddock, like you said, he's 0-2 with a 3.60 ERA. But if you look at his FIP ERA, it's 1.69. So he's had a rough go. Tyler Wells, 0-2, 5.54 ERA, 1.35 WHIP, 4 walks, 10 strikeouts over 13 innings. The fun thing is they were talking about, they don't want Wells to stretch him out any further than the 5 innings and 72 pitches that he threw against the Yankees. Then why are you putting him in the rotation?
Well, judging by the way he's pitched so far, I think he's safe.
I mean, I know John means he's done for the year because he's going to have Tommy John surgery, but really this is who you're going to turn to, Tyler Wells. You've got 875 guys in the minors that you could probably bring up. I mean, we saw Bradish. He pitched pretty well on Friday in his debut against Boston. This guy isn't going to cut it. Twins 13th in runs per game, 427. They average 4 on the road. The Orioles 26th in runs per game at 3.23. They average 3.22 at home. The Twins 5-0 in their last 5 as a favorite. They're 7-0 on their last 7 on grass. Like you mentioned before, Scott, 9 of their last 10 are wins. Baltimore 13-43 in their last 56 against teams with a winning record. 15-51 in their last 66 when their opponent scores 5 runs or more. We saw the Twins bounce back. Dylan Bundy got roughed up Friday night right after we talked about how great he was pitching. And then they turned around and beat the tar out of the Rays and beat them 9-1 Saturday, 9-3 yesterday. This is a dangerous Minnesota lineup when you look at it, Scott. What do you make of them against Baltimore?
Yeah, again, I'm a big fan of this play. And usually, you look at some of those stats, some of those trends are kind of weird when you say, well, they're this and this after their opponent scores so much in a game. But I'll tell you what, baseball is the one sport you look at those because there's probably about a 67% chance that the game before that was played against the same team you're playing tonight. So when you say the Orioles are 15-51 in their last 66 when an opponent scores 5 or more, I think that means something because it means the probable opponent was the same one they're facing there, and they've been putting up runs. They've beat up the bullpen. Conditions were favorable for scoring runs, and they likely will remain the same. So I just wanted to point that out. That sometimes I think those trends mean more than other times.
That's true. Baltimore hitting a robust 219 as a team this season. They have 11 homers. Meanwhile, the Twins have 24
this week
on the season.
Oh, okay.
Could be this week with the way they were hitting, but
yeah.
Buxton has 7 already, and he missed time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is a team that's doing it without Sano for the most part, right?
Well, he's played 17 games, but yeah, he's batting .093 and 54 at bats.
Not ideal. Not ideal. Yeah, big fan of the Twins here, bud.
And Correa only has 1 homer himself.
Right. Yeah, I know.
And basically, Buxton has 7 and Kepler has 5. And then Kyle Garlick has 3 in his limited appearances.
I like garlic.
Do you like it do you like salt or powder?
Either one.
Or do you go minced?
I use my air fryer to roast it, and then I put it in olive oil. I have a little.
See, I'll have to try that. How long do you roast it for?
25 minutes on 260.
I'll try that.
You put it in a little aluminum pouch.
Right.
Sprinkle a little olive oil. You cut off the top. Sprinkle a little olive oil in it. You wrap it up. Keep it loose just so it steams. About 25-27 minutes in the air fryer. And
good stuff.
You're good to go. And then, like I said, I mix it with olive oil, so I have garlic olive oil all the time. It's a little insight into me, little information nobody asked for. So
yeah, I'll have to try that though because that's a good idea.
Yeah, very very solid, very solid. I actually went to a farmer's market and bought garlic olive oil, and I liked it so much. I'm like, why am I paying for this? we buy the Costco jug of olive oil,
the 87-gallon container.
Yeah, I wish I was sophisticated enough to be a snob about olive oil, but I'm not. I can't tell the difference between extra virgin and she's only been fucked a couple of times olive oil or only butt stuff. I don't know all this. There's different distinctions of olive oil. Obviously, I don't know all of them, but
AJS, is there still snow up there? I haven't talked to my parents this weekend, but I know they had snow at the end of last week back home.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So we take the Twins, we take the Marlins here. Asking about the Yankees. Is that the next slide?
Nope.
Damn it.
I'm not sold. I know the Yankees are scoring a lot of runs, but I mean they're going to Toronto, and if one thing we know is the Blue Jays can put up runs themselves, I'd be a little leery there. I know it's Stripling again against Montgomery. I actually took Toronto just because I like the way the Blue Jays play at home.
Okay.
They're supposed to be getting Teoscar Hernandez back in the near future as well, which will only help that lineup even more. But the way they looked against the last couple games, they're 15-8. Can't go wrong with that. And you look at that lineup: Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette and Chapman and Springer and Gurriel. It's a tough lineup to try and slow down. And the Yankees, as good as they've been, they've kind of teed off on mediocre pitching because Lynch kept Kansas City in the game yesterday.
Yeah, you're right.
And they beat up on that bullpen again.
So you're telling me that the Yankees have swept 3 straight series and you're not impressed with Cleveland, Baltimore, and Kansas City? Talk about murderers row.
Yeah, geez. I'm surprised they don't have a set with the local YMCA coming up next.
To quote Major League, look out, that guy's got a family.
Hey, Bell's up to 4th now.
Here's what we haven't talked about. I know we've kind of gone off the rails here a little bit, as we are wont to do. It's probably a lot more since I've been hosting. But Trevor Bauer, 2 years. Chris, you okay with this?
Not in the least. I mean,
and there's no time served.
Yeah, so by the time he
gets suspended.
Yeah, there's no time served. By the time he comes back, his contract will be up. So he's not getting paid, and you're suspending him for something that he's not getting prosecuted for, and that they said there wasn't enough evidence to convict on in the first place. Now, didn't Marcelo Zuna get a lot shorter suspension for an actual DV charge?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Either 100 games or 60 games, right?
I'm gonna take a look and see what he was actually suspended for here.
I'm kind of with you. Taking
20
away
games.
20 games?
20 games, and it was retroactive to when he served it before they actually handed out the suspension.
Yeah,
So
it
he
seems
was
a little
suspended.
not even-handed to me.
No, it just seems there's something going on here, and I don't blame him if he does appeal it. And my question is, who deals with the appeal? Do they have an outside arbitrator, or does Manfred still hand down the discipline again?
Yeah, I do wonder about that as well. So let me get this straight. He pitched not at all last year, right?
He pitched up until I think late June.
Last year?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that was 20 or 21 that he had.
Yeah, he won the Cy Young in 20 in Cincinnati in the shortened season.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, he made 17 starts last year. His last start came on June 28th.
So he's going to miss almost 3 full seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
And not get paid.
No, I can't get behind that.
I mean, he got paid for the second half of last season because he was on the restricted list or whatever it was, the administrative leave list or whatever they call it. So he got paid, but he won't get paid now.
Right, correct.
Which is,
unless
now don't get me wrong, I have no problem with people that, break the law and stuff getting hammered for what they did. But in this case, she filed for a restraining order. It was denied. She wanted to press charges. The DA said no. He turned around and filed a lawsuit against her. Now he's going to get suspended for 2 years on top of what he's already missed. Right. Like we just said, Ozuna got suspended for 20 games.
Yeah, that seems a little. I mean, that was something he was actually convicted in a court of law, right? Cops were called and all that.
Yeah, cops were called. They filed charges and everything else.
And I don't want to. We kind of have to dance on the line here a little bit about whether we believe the woman. It's not anything like that. It's just I want MLB to be even-handed with their discipline. You want to say that everybody that commits domestic violence should be suspended for 2 years? All right, that's a conversation I'm willing to have. But if you want to tell me that some guys should be suspended for 20 games and some guys should be suspended for 2 years, I think it's the inconsistency that riles me up more than anything else. That's what I have the beef with. I don't really want to get into the weeds of he said, she said, and this truly does come down to a he said, she said, because it's one of the weird things where they both admit violence happened. It's all about the context. And again, I don't want to turn into Dr. Drew or Sex Talk with Dr. Laura. If you're interested in all the details about how it happened and everything, there's plenty of stories and you can read about it. Most of you probably already know.
And I mean, if you look, the longest suspension that there was last year when Sam Dyson, who was pitching for the Twins, was suspended for the entire year after violating the off-field personal conduct policy regarding a domestic violence case that took place in 2019. Now, they suspended him for the whole year. That's still 1 year.
Right.
As opposed to, like you said, it's going to be close to 3 seasons that he's going to be sitting out at this point.
Right.
I mean, that's just, I don't know. There's something going on there.
Be consistent. I mean, maybe MLB's way ahead of this. Maybe they've got information that something is still to come. Maybe they've talked to other women. I don't know. Maybe this will still be justified, and we'll look back and go, okay, well, now I understand why they did it. But right now, it looks a little. I mean, the way it looks in front of you right now, exactly, with the information that it's out there, right?
It seems like it's a little
correct,
a little steep.
All right, before we go back real quick, Bill McDonald asking about James Harden under props. So this basically comes down whether you believe in him or not. Is what you're saying there. Either you think he's going to step up because he has to, but does he? Does he have the ability to do it?
I mean, he's pretty much going to have to, isn't he?
That's the way I look at it. I would be reluctant if you think he's washed. If you don't think he has the ability anymore to do it, I think you can get some great numbers out there because those numbers are going to be inflated because Embiid's out. But if you think he's still got the skills, or you think that he will be able to step up, then I would tread lightly. That's what I'm saying.
I always tread lightly when it comes to Harden because you don't know how motivated he's going to be. We saw it in Houston when he was there. He'd loaf on defense. He'd take bad shots. He'd get frustrated.
Box of chocolates is what he is. So
this one tastes like toothpaste.
Bill, I will say good luck. I would be a little reluctant to take unders unless you are convinced yourself that James Harden is done. I'm not convinced. Some people are. So that all comes down to what your opinion is on that.
And I think you're going to see a lot more of Maxey and Harris. And they might go to a small ball lineup where George Niang plays center and try and spread the floor. You see guys like Seth Curry out there. So Harden might not get as much volume as you might expect because they're going to try to spread the ball around and make Miami adjust defensively because Adebayo, as good of a defender as he is, it's kind of like what Dallas did with Rudy Gobert when they went with the small ball lineups. Is you're trying to get a guy who's 7'1", whatever, to get out there and challenge a perimeter shooter,
right?
While at the same time trying to defend the lane from giving up easy buckets in the paint. And it's a tough battle.
Yep, it really is. All right. What you got next, buddy?
Now we'll go to the NHL because it's playoff time, Scott.
Playoffs, baby. Already. Seems like just yesterday the season started.
I know. And I'm going to go with the St. Louis Blues on the road in Game 1 against the Minnesota Wild. The Blues 49-22-11 in the regular season. The Wild 53-22-7. But you can throw those records out the window now when you go to the playoffs. The Blues won all 3 meetings in the regular season. They've gone 9-0-1 in the last 10 clashes between these two teams. Going to be Ville Husso, 25-7-6 with a 256 goals against a 919 save percentage and 2 shutouts against the veteran goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury. This is what Minnesota went and traded a second rounder to Chicago for, was to help their goaltending. Fleury 28-23-5 with a 290 goals against a 908 save percentage and 4 shutouts. But you look at Fleury's numbers after coming over from the dismal team that was Chicago. And he was good for the Wild down the stretch. Posted a record of 9-2 with a 910 save percentage and a 274 goals against in 11 starts with the Wild. The tough part is here, Minnesota, they haven't been able to solve the Blues. They lost to them in the playoffs last year. They struggled this season in the regular season. St. Louis 3rd in goals for. Minnesota's 5th in goals for. The Blues 11th in goals against. Minnesota in the middle of the pack at 16th. The Blues 7-1 in their last 8 on the road. 5-1 in their last 6 against the Central Division. 12-3 in their last 15 overall. Minnesota, no likey the playoffs. 2-9 in their last 11 playoff games as a favorite. 1-5 in their last 6 games in the conference quarterfinals. And the Blues have taken 13 of the last 16 meetings between these teams. The Blues are a slight underdog, mainly because they're playing on the road, but they've beaten Minnesota here already twice this season. I'm going to take the Blues in a mild upset in Game 1 to set the tone for this series, which is probably going to go 6 or 7 games.
Okay.
Anything you have to say about that? Or
I like that price. I like getting the Blues at plus money. That's what I will say about that. I think this is I think it's a coin flip at best, and I'll take plus money in a coin flip every time.
There you go, folks. He's not the best color man in hockey for nothing.
Well, what do you want me to say? I mean, you just laid out 17 bullet points. Anything you want to add? No, fuck. I guess we could talk about the Blues historically through the 70s, but no, you pretty much covered everything.
Well, you can talk about Bernie Federko.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks.
What's wrong with Bernie Federko?
No, there's nothing wrong with Bernie Federko. I actually saw him play in the aforementioned Checker Dome.
Cody, as you see, we like the Blues. Just talked about it. No problem. But yeah, I like the Blues tonight. I just think that they've got Minnesota's number, and I know Fleury is going to be a boost for Minnesota and net, but
Cody said he just got here.
I know that's why I said that's why I was just touching on it.
Do you have a note? Do you have a note?
Yeah, where's your hall pass?
We don't deal with tardiness around. Jesus. All right, moving on.
Yep, and now we'll talk about the other Western Conference matchup tonight. It's the Edmonton Oilers hosting the Los Angeles Kings. Wayne Gretzky's original team, Wayne Gretzky's former team, after, of course, he was traded back in 1988 for a truckload of money because Peter Pocklington was cheap. The Kings, that record is wrong. I forgot to update it this morning. The Kings actually are not 27, 44, 9. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in the playoffs. They're 44, 27, and 11. The Oilers were 49, 27, and 6. They went 26, 9, and 3 after firing Dave Tippett and bringing in Jay Woodcroft as their head coach. Apparently, sometimes they say that changing coaches can make things work for you, and apparently it did for the Oilers. Apparently they had tuned out Tippett. Now, Jonathan Quick, 22, 13, and 9 with a 265 goals against, a 910 save percentage, and 2 shutouts against Mike Smith. Yes, that's not a name for a guy that's in the witness protection program. 16, 9, and 2 with a 281 goals against, a 915 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Kings, below average offensively. They're 20th in goals for, at 2.87. They're 10th in goals against. The Oilers, a dangerous offensive team, 7th in goals for at 348, 18th in goals against at 306. The Oilers, 5-0 in their last 5 against teams with a winning record. 13-3 in their last 16 against the West. 21-5 against Pacific Division teams. Kings 0-5 in their last 5 as an underdog. 0-6 in their last 6 conference quarterfinal matchups. It's not a good stat when you're talking about the quarterfinals being the first round of the playoffs. 0-4 in their last 4 against teams with a winning record, and the Kings do not like going to Alberta. 1-6 in their last 7 meetings in Edmonton. The Kings, they did a good job to get here. Unfortunately, once you get here, you still have to win games. That's not Los Angeles' strong suit. They're 1-5 in the last 6 meetings overall against Edmonton.
And you kind of touched on it. This is a Kings team that kind of beats up on the little sisters of the poor and then struggles against good teams. And while I don't expect the Oilers to really compete for the cup, of course anything can happen in the playoffs. I don't think they're quite at the level they need to be defensively. However, I think they're good enough to take care of business against the Kings. Edmonton have the 2 best scorers in the NHL, Chris.
Well, I like McDavid and I like Draisaitl, but you can't overlook. There's some other good guys around the league. Austin Matthews, of course, led the league in goals for the Maple Leafs with 60. Jonathan Huberdeau as a great scorer for the Panthers, but they're probably the best 1-2 combination, I would say, in the league.
Do you think either one of those guys would lead the league in scoring if they didn't have the other one there?
That's a good question.
I ask good hockey questions. It's what I do. It's kind of what I'm known for.
It is? I thought you were known for forgetting stuff.
What? That vaguely rings a bell. I don't remember, though.
Yeah, I figured. It's a tough call. It's possible.
Okay.
But, I think that those guys make each other so much better that it's hard to really gauge.
Right. Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there.
That's a good question.
You like the puck line? 195 is I
kind of like the puck line. I figure Edmonton will probably salt it away late. Hit an empty netter or something like that.
Right.
Win 4 or 5-2, something like that.
Okay, solid. I'm liking it. What else you got?
Now we got the NBA because it's NBA playoffs. Mm-hmm. Where else can you bet MLB, NHL playoffs, and the NBA playoffs all on the same day?
Beautiful thing.
As Marv Levy would say, where would you rather be than right here, right now?
By the way, the state next to mine just passed sports betting while Missouri let it go down the drain again. Unfucking believable. They tried to tie it to the video lottery terminals and all this shit and just chunk it down. And anyway, congratulations.
Oh, look at that. Ross Chastain is leading at Dover now.
Well, it's early. That's not early, but it's
lap 344.
I understand, but it's not the end yet, my friend.
Well, Bell's up to 5th.
I know.
I didn't know if you're still watching it or not.
I got it on.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Suns over the Mavs here. I don't know what your take on this game was, Scott. Suns won all 3 meetings this season. They've won 9 straight against the Mavs. And one thing we know is, the Suns aren't going to be as offensively challenged as Utah was in Dallas's first round series. And they've got a big man that is going to make life tough for Dallas because DeAndre Ayton can score points. And Dallas doesn't really have a big man to slow him down inside. Suns were fourth in postseason scoring offense at 111.3. They lead the postseason in field goal percentage at 52.3%, despite ranking 13th in three-point shooting. The Mavs, for all the fact that they won that series, and give them credit, they did, they were 12th in postseason scoring offense, 12th in field goal percentage, and 6th in three-point shooting. Suns 9-1-1 against the spread in their last 11 in the conference semifinals, 8-2 in their last 10 of playing on at least 3 days of rest. Dallas 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 on 3 days of rest, 8-21 against the spread in their last 29 against the Suns, 3-7 against the spread in the last 10 meetings in Phoenix.
Not ideal. Not ideal. To me, this game comes down to one player and the fact that he's back, and that's Devin Booker. The fact that he was back for the last game against New Orleans, he wasn't fantastic. He was still a little rusty from downtown. Scored just 13 points, but I think Devin Booker does so many things, and I think one of the main things he does is take the pressure off of Chris Paul. So I like them as a 1-2 punch quite a bit. I think Booker's only going to get better, and while I have liked this Mavericks team, they've kind of surprised some people. I think the show is over as far as that goes. I think you're right about Phoenix.
As Crowded House said, "Hey, now the dream is over."
Crowded House, buddy. There's a blast from the past, formerly known as Haircut 100. By the way, you knew that or not?
That's a good name.
It is. Cody says he does have a note. Excellent.
Well, make sure you didn't forge your parents' signature.
Even if it's signed by Cody's mom, we'll still take it, man. That's excellent.
And then I'm gonna take the Heat over the Sixers. They split 4 meetings this season, but like we said, there's no Joel Embiid. That's a big blow from Philadelphia. I know he struggled in the last couple of games in the Toronto series with that thumb, and now, of course, he's got a broken orbital and a concussion and everything else.
Yeah, I don't know. When you say, well, this guy's injury prone, how do you he's got a fucking broken thumb, he's got a broken eye socket.
It's actually the second time he's had a broken orbital in his career.
That's just awful. I mean, I don't know how you you can't really just lump that in and say, well, that guy's just injury prone. He's always taking those elbows in the face.
And I like Doc Rivers' excuse for why he left his guys in the game when he was up 35 points. Well, their guys were still in the game. Well, dumbass, they're losing by 30 points. They're trying to at least make it respectable.
Sometimes I think the doctor is out.
Yeah, I think his office hours are between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, and he forgot that the game started at 7:30.
Yeah, I didn't want to get involved with the side of this. I have a suspicion that the Sixers may step up, at least keep it close within the 7.5. I think for me, the 7.5 just a little strong.
Well, I know it jumped because it was 4.5 originally. And then when they said Embiid wasn't going to play, it went up to like 8.5, and then it came back down a little bit.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I'm gonna take a small spin on the Heat or on the 76ers, and I realize when you make plays like that, you have the potential to absolutely go down in flames, as Miami could win this one by 30.
True.
I just have a hunch that this is a team that was 6-8 without Embiid in the lineup this season, but they were 1-0 against Miami without Embiid, and most of those 14 games, by the way, they didn't have Harden. So
who played for Miami in the game that they were 1-0 against him?
You know what? I didn't look it up.
I was just curious, who it was that didn't play.
I understand. Yeah, because it was like the Warriors the other day going into their game yesterday. They had gone 1-3, but the big three hadn't played in any of them, and in the last game, none of the big three played. So you kind of had to look at context there.
Yeah, let me take a look at the game logs real quick for Embiid and see where Miami popped up, because they were missing so many guys this season on a day-to-day basis. It's like, well, who's going to play for them?
Yes, Miami certainly had their own injury challenges. I will, and by the way, I have Miami coming out of the East to play for the title. So it's not like I'm down on Miami. I think they're a fantastic team.
No, actually, Miami had most of their guys. Butler played 34 minutes. Adebayo played 36.
All right.
Hero played 29.
So much for that theory.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see here. Well, they shot 10 of 33 from 3-point range. That probably didn't help.
Hey.
And that game was in Philadelphia, so.
You know what time it is?
Tool time?
Time for me to say, we got to move it along, buddy. Let's go.
All right, we'll move on to the two for the money part of the show, where we've talked about the Twins and the Orioles, which Scott really likes, as he told you. He can't remember what he told you, but, he said it was his play of the day. I like Minnesota there. I think Paddock will turn in a solid enough start. Tyler Wells is not anything to write home about, and the Twins should win. We talked about
Dear Mom, this guy sucks. Love me. Go ahead.
The Heat over the Sixers. Then on the ice, I'm going to go with Edmonton over the Kings, like we talked about, and Carolina over Boston. This is going to be a hard-hitting, low-scoring series. More than likely, the Hurricanes led the league in goals against. The Bruins finished, let's see, they were fourth in that category. Not expecting a ton of high-scoring affairs between these teams. Carolina is expected to start Antti Ranta. Linus Ullmark going to get the start for the Bruins. I didn't like Linus Ullmark when he was in Buffalo. I don't like him anymore that he's in Boston. And you have to be concerned whether the Bruins can get enough offense from guys that aren't named Patrice Bergeron, David Pastrnak, and Brad Marchand. I'm going to take the Hurricanes at home in that one to get the win. As you see, it's a thin money line there. Yep. The puck line, they're basically valuing Boston to keep it as a 1-goal game.
Okay.
And now we go to the 4 for the show part of the show. I'm going to go with the Marlins over the Diamondbacks. We talked about that. I also have the Nerfy in there, so keep an eye on that one too.
Solid.
Yep. The Red Sox. Oh, it's not the Red Sox over the Orioles. Hold on. Where's my screen here? It's actually I actually had the Mets in that spot. It just didn't copy when I saved it. The Mets minus 115 over the Braves. Stupid thing. I saved it and then it glitched and I thought it saved again and it didn't. But Chris Bassett going against Max Fried. Do you have anything on that one, Scott?
Max Fried hasn't quite got off to the start that everybody was hoping for. I'm hoping for Atlanta's sake that it is just a temporary situation. Pitched better lately, right? If I'm not mistaken, didn't he kind of
let me see.
Shit the bed early? Let me look at Fried starts here.
Yeah, he turned in 7 shutout innings against the Dodgers, and then he gave up 1 run on 4 hits over 6 innings against the Cubs.
That's exactly what I was thinking. He gave up 8 runs in his first 11 innings and has given up just 1 in his last 13. So I think Fried's maybe rediscovered a little something. And you got to remember these guys had a shorter spring than usual. So the first start of the season would have usually been their last start of the spring. So I give everybody kind of a pass as far as getting off to a slow start. We see a lot of that for a fair amount of pitchers. I like I tell you what, I do like picking up the value there with Atlanta at plus 100. Mets playing really good baseball right now, and I know that Bassett's pitched well so far. I think again this is close to an even game. This is it's tough for me to pick a side in this one. I think these are really good, evenly matched teams. Should be a good series.
Yeah, and then I like the Blues and Wild to go over 6.5. If you look at their matchups in the regular season, you look and you see that the scores in those games were real low-scoring affairs: 6-4, 4-3, and 6-5.
There you go.
8 of the last 10 meetings have gone over the number, including the last 4. When these teams play, a lot of goals get scored. And I don't care if Marc-Andre Fleury is in net. I don't care if it's Philly Husso, Jordan Binnington, Grant Fuhr.
Right.
Insert name here. I'm going to stick with that going over the mark. And that takes us to what, Scott?
Shotgun City.
Yeah, sure.
Shot in the dark. I know. I usually think of a shotgun with all these plays going out, but yes, it's a shot in the dark.
And see, that's what it did. It took my Mets one and put it here instead of up at the top. So the one where the Mets thing was supposed to be none other than the White Sox. Which that was early start. That's right. I went with the Twins and Orioles over 7.5 in that spot.
Okay.
Because I think the Twins are going to score a bunch of runs.
All right, fair enough.
I'm going to take the Mariners over the Astros. I'm not necessarily thrilled with the pitching matchup with Marco Gonzalez and Jake Odorizzi, who I'm surprised that Odorizzi is still pitching in the majors with the way he's pitched so far this year.
Right.
You have any thoughts about him?
Done, washed.
Yeah, ERA of 6 in 4 starts.
Yep. I didn't think he pitched particularly well last year, and he doesn't look like he's doing much so far this season.
Then we've got like I said, I like the Blue Jays over the Yankees. I know that the Yankees have beaten up on the cream of the American League basement.
Been a good run for the Yanks, right?
But I think that Toronto is a team that can actually match them in the power game, and that's going to be an interesting thing. Then I'm taking the A's over the Rays. Scott, what do you have anything about that? It's Drew Rasmussen and Dalton Jeffries.
I haven't liked the way Rasmussen's pitched so far this season. You kind of have to start asking yourself, what the hell's wrong with the Rays? As they are just kind of treading water there, not really off to the kind of start that everybody thought they would be. Rasmussen is a guy that's, I think, was he pitched better lately? Because I know he was stunk up the joint again first couple of starts.
Let me see his last couple outings.
Yeah, I got
Rasmussen 3 innings and no decision against the Cubs, 2 runs and 4 hits. Then he threw 6 shutout innings over Seattle.
Yeah, that was the start I was thinking of. So he was kind of below average before that. Had a nice start last time out.
Yeah, Jeffrey struggled in his last start, but he faced the Giants.
Right. Yeah, and I know I faded Jeffries to my demise a couple of times this season. So
did I.
Not necessarily a good thing, but I have to believe in the better team here, right?
I mean, you don't have to do anything but die and pay taxes.
You know what? Give me a value play on the A's. Tampa Bay on the road, sure. Give me.
So I'm guessing that wasn't on your list of top picks for the day.
No, it's not something I'm going to be standing in line at the window to play. But you know what? Give me the value. I think plus 145 is a decent price.
I'm going to take the Heat in the first half, minus 4.5 over Philadelphia. I also look for that game to end up under 208.5. I just don't think that these teams are going to score a ton. Especially without Embiid, you're taking a big chunk of offense out.
Lightning Toronto?
What's that?
Lightning in Toronto?
Lightning in Toronto, I think it's going to be a high-scoring series. I mean, you look at those teams. You're talking about, the Leafs were second in the league offensively in goals per game behind Florida, who, plays Washington tomorrow. So that'll be a story for a different time.
Now a couple games that you don't think will be high-scoring.
Yeah. But just to finish up the Toronto thing, meetings this year, first one was 2-1 in November. Then in December, it was 5-3. And the 2 meetings in April were 6-2 and 8-1. So lots of offense in those games. And then finally, Boston, Carolina, I said that's going to be a low-scoring series. And as good as the Oilers are offensively, the Kings are not. I think that game will probably end up 4-2, maybe, and end up under the number. Andrew, if you like NCAA baseball, I know that the Earl brothers there like to spin a lot of college baseball. And there have been a couple people in my comment section that have laid out some really good college baseball plays. I think they've put out like 4 plays, and they haven't had a loss yet. So keep an eye on the comment section for my daily video, Andrew, and see if anybody threw a college baseball play out there. So, all right, buddy. Well, good luck. That's a shit ton of plays. So let's go ahead and 10-teamer. And I know you always say these are to mix and match and just kind of throwing out food for thought. Nobody really expects you to play all 10 and then come to the comments tomorrow like your 10-teamer never wins. No shit. Technically, it did win a couple times, but
it's kind of what got you your own show. No, you did it.
And look, that Andrew is the guy that made the comments on the college baseball.
What's that?
Andrew's the one who made the comments about college baseball on your video.
Oh, put out the good plays?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we've come full.
So make sure you watch for those comments you put out yourself.
Well, in fairness, I told you he was good.
But yeah, I know Tim and Nick usually do some good stuff with college baseball. I don't know if Allie does or not. I think she just follows Tim and Earl or Tim and Nick's picks.
I believe that is correct. So that's so funny. Andrew's like, I know, dude. It's me. Hey, we got off to a great start here for a Monday, man. Hope you guys do nothing but win today. And Chris, any final thoughts?
Obviously, it's always great when the playoffs come around.
You know what? I've done no promo today. Don't forget our deal over with our friends at Caesars, guys. I told you the DraftKings thing went away May 1st, so hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of that. But make sure you take advantage of the free bet insurance over at Caesars up to $1,100. Your first bet, you know where it's available. If they got Caesars in your state, you're in. Got to be 21 to play, unless you're Wyoming or New Hampshire. And it's promo code ATS wins CZR. ATS wins Caesar. All that information and the link is in the show description. So
yep, and we've still got the baseball guide out there. And if you're looking to bet on the run for the roses,
down the stretch they come.
There's the inside track to the Kentucky Derby betting guide coming out. It's supposed to be, if you sign up and reserve your copy, it's free. It'll get sent to your inbox once it's complete. I guess it's supposed to be in the next couple of days.
Yep.
But that's in the show box below. Also in the show box below, if you want to get the premium picks for myself or Scott, who forgets to mention those all the time, they're down in the show box as well. And don't forget to tune in for all the exciting shows here on the Max Wagers Network, starting with Midday Money with Sean Higgs at noon Eastern, followed by Morning Wood with Ellie Burns and Detroit Lenny at 1. Then it's us at 2. And then Scott goes and deals with the Cabbage Patch Kid at 3. Followed by Sean Miller talking about soccer from around the globe at 4. And then Game Time Decision with Nick, Tim, and Lenny, the law firm, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So we got you covered from noon to 6. Other than that, by then you'll be just about ready to sit down on the couch and watch some games. Yeah, watch some games.
There you go. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Monday in the can. Everybody take care. Good luck on all of your plays, not just today, but all week as well. I'll see you in about 30 seconds with my pal Scott Reichel. And Chris and I will see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, as we talk about just parlays. Take care, everybody. Will.